Hey people, more of these handheld, not very well focused reviews, but this is just the way it seems to work for me to do it this week. Very busy week. I still have not finished. Today is New Comic Book Day, Wednesday. This is my lunchtime, so I won't be going to the comic book store for another 4 hours or so. But I still have a bunch of comics from last week that I haven't read yet. And just a busy week. So another one that I enjoyed a lot was Exodus: The Life After. I find it funny that it says from the writer of The Bunker. Is The Bunker such a huge hit? From the writer of I, Vampire, from the writer of Marvel Ultimates, I think, from the writer of all kinds of things. But in any case, my favorite book by Joshua Hale Fialkov is The Life After, and they've rebooted it. Joshua Hale Fialkov and this single-named artist named Gabo, they've rebooted it, so to speak, as Exodus: The Life After. It's kind of like book 2 of The Life After, I suppose. And I'm not sure what's going on there. It seems unusual for something like an Oni book. Or maybe Oni is kind of going this way now, where they do things in volumes with subtitles and such. Or in this one, a super title. Because I guess they've kind of done that with, what do you call them? The Helheim books. Anyway, so in a way the story starts over again because Jude, who is now acknowledged to be one of the sons of God, is back in purgatory in the afterlife, just as he was at the very beginning. But now this girl who was raised by the bunny god and Ernest Hemingway are working on kind of freeing him from purgatory. The art feels a little different to me than I remember Gabo's art being. I'm almost wondering if he's using more like digital backgrounds or something rather than painted, or I don't know. It's been, this book's been on hiatus for a bit, and I would need to go back to be sure. But I really still enjoy this a heck of a lot. I do think you should probably read the previous series before reading this. At least you'd get the most out of it. You might be able to enjoy it by just picking it up at this point. And they do a pretty good job of catching you up on the inside front cover. Love how we find out this bunny god can split itself in half and then back together, and that it was playing chess with itself. So there's lots of cool stuff here. It was a very quick read, and I think despite a certain sense of a reset of the story, it really is a good continuation of what came before, and I was pretty satisfied. Like I think I've commented in some other video of mine, this is definitely something that as the story accumulates, as the pieces or not even come together, but as the pieces pile up, it gets, more and more fun to read. So, as an individual issue, it's good, but as part of the larger whole, it just feels like it continues a kind of sense of greatness. So I'm really happy to continue reading it, really happy they continue publishing it. I guess that stuff about the bunker on the front worries me that the sales aren't good enough. Hopefully it will sell well in trade, so if you like to read books in trade, I definitely say go out and get the original Life After books. I think they'll be a very satisfying read. So, talk to you guys later. This is Paper Girls, issue number 2, which I enjoyed considerably more than Paper Girls issue number 1, which I liked but didn't feel deeply involved in, and I just got a lot more involved in this issue. And I kind of in a way, a bit like The Life After, the sense that it's going in unpredictable and wacky directions. There was a bit of the Steven Spielberg kind of feel to it in The Goonies and Stand By Me in the first issue, and now we've got a much stronger I guess, Twilight Zone kind of feeling to it, plus some wacky emotional stuff, and just some stuff that's still very mysterious. There seems to be time travel, I guess. I'm not quite sure, and the art, of course, is fabulous, and the coloring. There is an interesting quality to me. I don't know if it's my perception of things, because like on the cover, things are made to look very flat, and I feel like there's a play with the idea of delivery of newspapers, but also paper girls, paper thin, maybe a commentary on suburban life having kind of a thinness to it. I don't know. I don't know where that's going at all. But, and I don't know if it's my imagination, but my main experience with Cliff Chiang was on his long Wonder Woman run, which I loved, and it was with the same colorist. But that, in my memory, the art had a little more dimension to it, and here the art feels flatter, more paper thin. I mean, it's beautiful, but it reminds me more of old-fashioned advertising art, if you will, that had kind of this flat, illustrative quality. So anyway, it's intriguing art, and I feel like Cliff Chiang is doing something different here than I've seen him do before, but I don't have a long history with Cliff Chiang. Love the introduction of this drunken mother character. It really gave it some dimension. And I don't want to ruin the ending on the last page, because I think that was important for people to experience on their own. Are those supposed to be real dinosaurs or something else? I mean, I guess I don't know my dinosaurs well enough. I can't say with total confidence that those aren't dinosaurs, but they don't look to me like dinosaurs. Those flying creatures. This thing with the person standing completely still. If we saw everyone in the neighborhood standing completely still, that would be one thing, but it's just this one person, and it's this I got really kind of scared for her as her hand came near the werewolf mask mouth. Maybe it would be a real werewolf, but then we pull away, and there's just wonderful timing here in the storytelling. So it was kind of a delicious issue. Brian K. Vaughan, is kind of... You kind of have one view of him from reading Saga and Why the Last Man, and then this is, in kind of these other books he's doing lately, you get a different kind of view of him. And I remember that I did not read his Ex Machina or Ex Machina beyond an issue or two, and maybe I should go back to that. Maybe I'm just didn't give him enough of a chance there, that he just tries different things in different places. Anyway, satisfying read. Talk to y'all later. So here we've got Saints number 2, another Image book. I fear this one is going to go away quickly because I don't think many people are reading it. If you do like the afterlife, you might like Saints. It's yet another book that has another kind of somewhat whimsical, but not perhaps more pro-religious point of view than the afterlife. The afterlife, I wouldn't say, is either anti or pro-religion. I think it's just using the mythology of religion to tell a fun story. My take on it could be wrong. This seems to be using another part of the mythology of religion to tell a story, but here it seems like God and miracles and the like are real in this world, and there doesn't seem to be any question about whether God is good or evil or any of that stuff, although maybe all of that will come up later. Who knows? I'm not going to let that worry me. But Saints has these people who are modern-day incarnations of the saints of old. Saint Sebastian is the saint on the cover. We also have Saint Blaise, and I forget what the woman is. And during the course of this story, we meet Saint Stephen. I feel like I want to read up more on the original saints. I was raised Catholic, so we did talk about saints a lot, and I certainly remember paintings of Saint Sebastian, because when I was a boy, the church we went to was Saint Sebastian's in a recreation of an Italian church in Middletown, Connecticut. But anyway, this continues to be fun, and I think the coloring has improved somewhat. I still hope it improves even more. I believe this is the first professional comic book by this team. I read an article from their local newspaper. I can't remember where they are, but somewhere out in the middle of nowhere or somewhere in the Midwest or whatever. And they just sent a PDF of their comic book to a bunch of comic book companies, and Image picked them up. At least that's the way they tell the story. Anyway, it's not at all like The Life After, except that I feel like if you like The Life After, you might like Saints, because you would have the same tolerance for a story with a religious kind of setting and with a whimsical kind of mildly naughty take on things. Basically, in this, just that Saint Blaise has quite a mouth on him. And anyway, so it's kind of like a we're on a mission from God kind of thing. We don't really know what the mission is yet. We're gathering the team. But I enjoy the art. The art is very good storytelling. The only flaw is the color. The characterization is good. The writer does a great job of conveying a lot with a little bit of dialogue. So we have 3 strong characters already, and we're probably about to add a 4th. My only other negative is on the last page. Saint Stephen reveals his power, but I'm not sure what it is. He says, "I'm a little hard to hurt," and rocks seem to be floating up around him. Is he supposed to have grown into a giant? That was my first thought. But anyway, I'm looking forward to finding out more about Saint Stephen in Saints number 3, on sale in December. So I'm definitely highly enjoying this. It really has a nice, low-key sense of humor, and yeah, I just really enjoy it. So I'm glad this comic exists. I hope it continues to exist. And I think I commented just today, because I already saw Ghost Critic do his Wednesday haul, and he picked up The God Damned, which is taking place during some point in the Bible. It just seems like there's a lot of comics about religion right now, and it's interesting because I don't know, in popular fiction, like in novels, if you'd see a whole lot of books that focus directly on religious subjects. So it's interesting that comics, which are, generally pop culture, generally, just an entertainment kind of venue, that so many writers are choosing to focus on religion right now. Don't know if we'll be seeing that as a continuing trend or just a little blip. But I'll talk to you all later.